One of the defining factors of the Uni Party, that's the Labour Party now, the Tories before them, and the Blairite Labour Party before that, is that they don't understand the foundations of Great Britain. They don't know what made it safe, stable, and prosperous. Henceforth, they don't understand the safety and stability we enjoyed for a long time. It's not a human universal. They don't understand if they keep undermining our institutions and way of life, that itself is going to be destroyed. This is why it's so tone-deaf when Home Secretary Yvette Cooper states that the UK has lost respect for the police in the wake of the riots. She added, even more absurdly, people feel crime has no consequences. So instead of chastising the public, you'd think this would be an opportunity for Yvette Cooper to ask why that trust has broken down. If I was to hazard a guess, it may be because people feel like they've lost the local Bobby on the beat who actually cares about the community and tries to implement law and order, and that's been replaced by a sort of bipolar force of inane wokery on one side and a quasi-military force on the other, especially if someone sends an edgy tweet. To emphasise this point, the day after Cooper made these remarks, an inspectorate found that the London Met was failing in almost all work areas, and we're all aware these days that the police don't even bother to investigate burglaries anymore. If you're burgled, it's just tough luck. And just to add the cherry on top, if you get caught discussing the potential reasons for the rise on crime on Twitter or Facebook in a manner that Starmer Stasi don't like, you might get your door broken in at 3 a.m. in the morning. And then we have to be subjected to nonsense like this when Pride March comes around. Now, I don't want to be soppy and say I'm offended by this, but I do find it deeply undermining of Britain and our traditions. The police, remember, are supposed to be an austere, sober, trustworthy force implementing law and order across the country, not playing dress-up like some queen at the local gay disco. I mean, I understand we have freedom of assembly in this country. I just don't personally believe that the police should be involved in marches where people are off their heads on whatever they've taken that day, marching up and down the main streets yelling, "Hooray for penis." And then you have examples from Notting Hill Carnival such as this, where this policewoman seems to me to be being assaulted and just nothing happens to the guy. I mean, do you really think they'd let that slide if some guy was behaving like that, a St. George's Day parade? In my view, they definitely wouldn't, because they view one as diverse, as enriching, as good, and the other as unwelcome and problematic from the start. And then you have the more out-and-out dangerous side of woke ideology. On your screen is a series of clips I've broken down from a video I can't play you because YouTube may take the whole video down, where you see a lone policewoman trying to tackle two, whatever words don't offend Starmer's Stasi, men late night in London. As you can see, this woman is ill prepared to deal with the threat here, and it's just sad watching a woman get beaten down to the floor. Now, you don't exactly have to be Dirty Harry to recognise a lone female late at night in London on the beat isn't the best idea.
His Honour intends to broaden the areas of participation for women in the police force.
That sounds very stylish.
In fact, this is so obvious, before the world went insane, even kids could spot the dangers.
I think ladies should be policewomen. Why?
Because they're too softy. No! They'd get all upset if they saw somebody robbing a house. Couldn't handle it. Well, I don't disapprove of it.
But what?
But they're good to fall in love.
And then what?
And then there'd be chaos.
Now, I'm not quite as based as these kids, because I do believe that women can have a role in the police, attending domestic and sexual abuse cases to aid the women, for instance, these sorts of things that men can't really do. However, when it comes to patrolling the streets, they're just obvious issues. There's just countless examples of this online, like this one with a stout female offender. There's a man and a female police officer trying to apprehend her, and they're both absolutely hopeless. If this was two blokes who knew what they were doing, she'd be in custody straight away. And then you have clips like this. Again, I've had to break it down so YouTube doesn't take the video down, but we have a man being arrested allegedly after the recent riots, while an Asian-looking gang are still attacking him. In fact, when he is attacked, the policewoman just runs away and leaves him to get attacked and knocked to the floor by the baying mob. And then you have the examples of so-called two-tier policing. Now, this clip is from the recent riots, allegedly, and you can see a group of Asian men calling to kill their opposition and nothing happens.
Anyone want to fuck with the boss? If you want to fuck with boss, you fucking with the boss. Yeah, he's ready to kill you all. Yeah.
And then you have this example I showed you the other day. This is a bunch of Antifa, hope not hate types going on some march of anti-racism. Yet because there were no protesters, they just lined up outside the local Wetherspoons to yell at football fans. Football fans who were just there to go to a football game and haven't done anything at all. While the police actually guard them. I mean, it's just iniquitous. And talking of iniquity, I know this is a fringe issue in the UK, but as a Christian myself, we value human life and view it as sacred and divine, especially for the unborn. However, abortion has turned into a form of contraception in the UK, with hundreds of thousands of babies killed each year. Yet in one of the most egregious examples of police overreach I've ever seen, here's a woman who's walking up and down the road outside an abortion clinic, praying for the souls of the children who are losing their lives, being given a fixed penalty notice for a quite literal thought crime, or even more, a prayer crime.
Carried out elsewhere?
I'm not doing any actions. I'm just simply thinking silently in my head.
Okay, so what we're going to do, we're going to issue a fixed penalty notice now.
So what am I being issued a fixed penalty notice for?
Because I believe, and my colleague believes, that you're here to protest.
I've just told you I'm not protesting, I'm simply silently praying.
I mean, this is just Soviet levels of state overreach. And Yvette Cooper, this is why people don't trust the modern police. I'm sure that a good individual policemen and women, I don't mean to chastise them, but it seems to me a woke ideology has taken over the police force that's more concerned with being a social justice warrior than implementing law and order. Add to that the two-tier policing issues and you can see why trust is shattered. This is all part of a general social breakdown, by the way, which people like Yvette Cooper can blame on the Tories or the amorphous, mysterious far right. But ultimately, I think that problem begins at home. Anyway, these are just some of my thoughts. Do let me know what you think down below, and do consider subscribing to the channel.